Well, then it'll be a short meeting. Okay, folks, thanks for Am I supposed to sign this agenda? Probably.
Well, I'm gonna make you sit down here with me and make sure.
Yeah, there you go.
And crackle whip and everything.
I can like that.
After the teacher. Okay, good. I have love your scratch. It's got really cool
Parts.
What works?
Wrong parts. That's not cool. No, right here. It's for Chevy. No, the Subaru. Pull the little Subaru radiator out. It's like this thick. It's like this big, right? Open the box, I get this radiator. It's like that thick. You know, this big. I'm like,
Sure you didn't order it for your truck?
Well, that's what I was wondering. No, because I ordered it from that, like talking to a physical person.
And you had the numbers to read off and everything?
All of it. You know?
That's great.
So I'm gonna have to take that back tomorrow and get that done. But luckily, I mean, I guess it's kind
The meeting hasn't started yet. I'm not on the agenda, but I'm here to tell the people there's a lot of thieves at the golf course. Been there for 45 years. Now, if you take the city council, if they learn how to sell beer and liquor, it's 5 times markup, not 3. That's thousands of dollars we've lost because of thieves running the golf course. You have to have 5 times liquor, 5 times beer, 5 times food to make a bar or restaurant work. We don't come near that because there's too damn many thieves working there. Your pricing or your yearly system is made by thieves. You got to totally change your accounting because it's made by thieves. And you put all the money from the golf course in one account only. And that's the golf. The money goes into the bank, nowhere else. You don't shuffle around money. The loans come out of there. The expenses come out and all the income go in. And that's all I can say before I get really pissed, so I'm going to leave. Consider that, people. You've got a town full of thieves. I mean, we've had lawyers, city council, mayors, bankers, everybody included in this shit. So take care of it. It's really quite pathetic.
She almost got that.
What's up? I got a call from She was asking about
She does.
water project.
I've never had a or I've never done it as long as I've done it, and I don't remember Gene, well, I'm a senior, or I don't know. They got you out yeah. Well, I think both saddle on first and then you throw threads.
Really? Yes. That seems dangerous.
As long as you don't keep your threads. I know, right? But that's my understanding. Is that way the hole's not any bigger than that hole there.
But it doesn't make sense though.
What?
Like, well, to have, you have the ones that are just tap ready. So they
Oh,
obviously
yes, okay.
drill,
Yes.
you obviously drill the hole and then thread it.
Yes.
And they probably stopped doing that because of the amount of bullshit.
Well, I think more of the stress.
Right. Well, not everything's all that shit.
Well, there's a larger chance that you can help crack. So that's why your saddle is there to get bigger brown rubber.
It's finally 6, so we can call the meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Mayor Grant,
Here.
Scott Buck,
Here.
Patty Gates, Christopher Dean,
Here.
Adam.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall, back wall here in the library. It's also available in pamphlet form on the website provided on our agenda. We're going to start something new. We're going to do consent agenda where we can approve a good chunk of items all at once and make some progress. So our number 4 item will be consent agenda. It'll have A, approval of the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes and April 30th, 2025 special joint meeting minutes. B, approve the planning commission, approve planning commission approved building permits for the following: Brian Miller's property, Brian Piper's property, Shailene Karst property, Michaela Huggett's property, and James Domingo's property. Approve bills, claims, requisition orders, and transfers, and approve the golf board recommendation for hire for Amanda Cotton. Do I have questions about any of the presented? If no questions, can I take a motion?
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Thank you. And we'll go through again.
Yes.
Devon,
Yes.
Page,
Yes. So we have approved all of those now. Now we can go on, move on to reports. Let's start out with parks, please.
So the park board met last week, and you covered a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, I would really like to say Kevin, Augie, and Ian have been working a lot, really hard, and I have received lots of very good compliments about their work in our parks. So thank you guys. We met with Terry. She has been working on the park budget, and so she gave us a really good overview of it, and we are going to be looking at the budget line item numbers as we in the next month and try to help get some reasonable numbers that will work with the city and with what we need to do as well. So it's a work in progress, and we thank her for working on that one. In the future, we will be looking at the community building, the pool, and the cemetery budgets as well, because we'll also oversee those. We have interviewed 3 applicants for a summer park position, and that's one of your items on the agenda today. We waited for the title for our purchase trailer to be found, and I know that's an item on the agenda today, so we'll see if we see where the trailer is. The ceiling tile project in the community building is, I'm still working on it, and we're going to get some photographs of it, and we'll be doing something with those. They're not going anywhere. And the mayor has tasked us to work with the citizens who said they were interested in the pool. And so I brought that to the board and finally have come up with a list of people. So some of you may be getting calls. And really there's about 3 things to do. Decide if you want to do something with the pool. What is it? Keep it, destroy it? I don't know. But that's what a citizen group needs to do, is figure out what you want to do with it. And then from there you can decide how to move forward. So is that about right?
I think you got it.
Okay. The other thing we're really working hard on is a camper pad upgrade on the Wasippi grounds. I've got another line item on your agenda tonight, so you'll hear about that. Lee Miller will be repairing the library lawn irrigation system here. So I love to have great volunteers helping out with the city. We are coordinating with Swan for our solid waste collection and disposal around our bigger events. So 4th of July and especially Wasippi, those are the ones we're concerned with right now. We have upcoming events on the May 17th. Yeah, we have the Volks March. Okay, so I'm also part of the White River Trail, and so we're working with Carrie Remp, our tourism director in the area, as well as the Crawford White River Trails and the Northwest Nebraska Trails Association. We are putting on a Volks March. People come from all over, either 5K, 10K, open to everybody. You don't have to pre-register if you want to. The 5K starts at the park. 10K starts at Fort Robinson. It's free park pass day, so no worries there. It's $4 to register. So, and then we've got the Rod Run is coming here, so we'll have that going on. It's free park day at the fort, so there's lots of stuff going on. We have approved picnic tables to be used for the Rod Run event. We also approved a motion to approach the Planning Commission to look at rezoning the east entrance of the park from industrial to Parks and Rec. We reviewed the planning that the Sons of the American Legion and the Crawford Serving Humanities groups are doing to bring forth a completed proposal for a memorial wall and a memorial park at the entrance of the park. So they're just doing their examination of what options there are. And we noted overseeding needed for the ball field, so we're thinking about them. And then we had a visitor, somebody new to town who was looking for a community garden. And we don't have one right now, but we gave her some ideas of where she might be able to find some places to garden. So that's my report.
Next is library.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see. April was a landmark month in terms of patronage and visitations and attendance for the library. Within the last 5 years' worth, we've not had this high of a number of 709 attendances and visits. That also includes some really successful presentations at the public school to preview the summer reading program to them and everything. So it was a great month. And I think it forebodes a very busy summer. We had 66 computer users, and we circulated 186 materials out of the library here, and 149 digital materials through the Libby app. And we circulated, well, there were 19 titles viewed on Canopy, our streaming service. And I have a correction from last month regarding the Canopy views. I said last month 140, and I was misunderstanding all the analytics that I was looking at. What I had referred to before was 140 plays, so each time someone started a video whether or not it was the same video or they were continuing to watch one. But we've got it pinned down now. I spoke with the Canopy rep to specify that there was 14 separate titles, whether they were movies or individual episodes of things that were watched that month. So you could think of those as DVDs that were checked out from our digital library, as it were. And we added 40 new library materials to our catalog in-house, most of which are DVDs, because we've got a wonderful volunteer who's been crushing a lot of the DVD expansion project. So 40 of those titles, which I think there's a few hundred at least, are now in the catalog, and we're working on getting them put on the shelves. And then 16 library materials were removed from the collection, largely due to condition. Let's see, scheduled events, programs, and activities. Since the last council meeting where we gave a report for the library, we've held 15 meetings and events with a total attendance of approximately 217, because there's a meeting this morning that maybe didn't get factored in when I submitted this report, and another event. Upcoming events, tomorrow at 5:30, the Crawford Serving Humanities organization that Jenny mentioned earlier will be meeting here. And May 16th, which will be this Friday, the library will be closing early. It'll close at 5 p.m. instead of 6 p.m., just for everyone's awareness. Elsewhere next week, through the 19th and 22nd, I'll be out of office, but the library will be open again by the grace of wonderful volunteers who are going to hold down the fort and keep the doors open for us. And then we'll be closed Friday the 23rd and Monday the 26th for Memorial Day weekend. The next council meeting will be May 27th, presumably here at 6 p.m. And then our summer reading program kicks off Monday, June 2nd, and it will go all the way through August 1st, which is Friday. And there's a whole slew of events. I've got a little bit of signage up around the library, and I've got some handouts if anybody wants a little schedule to put on their fridge or something. But it's a pretty robust program. We're really excited. We're hoping to maybe get at least 50% more sign-ups than we did last year. And I've already had kids asking whether or not they can sign up. But it's not just for kids, it's for everybody as well. And then the last event that I wanted to bring to your attention is Saturday, June 7th. The Friends of the Library will be having their book sale as part of that citywide garage sale Frontier Finds weekend. So Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. we'll have a book sale out on the lawn, weather pending. If it's raining, we'll probably do it inside here. All right, and on to library projects. I just have a couple of things to mention. So I've talked about the summer reading program a little bit, but I wanted to share with you that the Friends of the Library, largely funded by things like those book sales, they have graciously agreed to fund all the rest of the needed supplies for the summer reading program for about a value of about $500. So all the craft supplies and prize items, they're going to supply to us. Now the last project I wanted to bring to your attention is, you might have heard that we had our meeting room recently renovated, and it's awesome, and we want to keep the momentum going. And the next area we're looking at is our entryway, where we're looking to replace the linoleum perhaps with carpet, give it a nice paint job, and then essentially convert it into a small hall of recognition. So we've got all these miscellaneous plaques all over the library that don't have their due presentational quality that they deserve. So we'd like to make those more prominent and honor them a little better. So that concludes my report, unless there's any questions. Thanks.
Awesome job.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, everyone. Hello. We have been incredibly busy up there and down at the bottom of the hill. We started the month off by draining the east tank and getting it fully cleaned out, having it all washed out and inspected. The inspection came back pretty good. They also roved the other 2 tanks for us. We did talk with them about possibly getting the raw water tank empty and cleaned out before the end of this year. And then we can start working with them on paint and rust removal and any of the fixes we need inside the tank. We do have an issue with our stir in the east tank. It's got like a remote fault or something. We're not entirely sure if it's issues that we're having with our SCADA. We will be looking into
getting a tech out here, trying to get us a little bit of help and maybe try to simplify and start working with that system a little bit better.
Do we need to do that before it's filled?
No, it's already filled. So what we could do is we could either drain it again and let them go in there. So when he looked at it, he told me if it's a big problem with it, they're just going to take it out and replace it, remove and replace the whole thing. We would have to drain the tank again. It'll take us about 2 days to drain it and about a day and a half to fill it. And they can get in there and get the work done in a day, probably the same day that they're doing the raw water tank. And we'd still have 1 million gallons of water sitting on top of the hill, we'd be fine. The other thing they can do is if we don't feel like draining that tank is they can put a stir in from the top, and it just is, it's like they just dangle it from a cord and it would kind of float around in there. I don't really like the idea of them hanging something from the ceiling. That means you gotta put more holes and stuff in there. It'd probably be better if we could just get it replaced, but I need to reach out and talk to them and see when they're planning on coming back out and what any costs would be associated with that. I think there will be, but I'm not 100%.
Sure.
Okay. We went out to the infiltration gallery. We got the generator starter put back in. We got that started up and it's purring like a kitten. It's running real well. We can hook it up to the building. It won't automatically start, so we have to physically go out there if we have a problem, fire it up, we can plug it up to the building, and we can at least get the emergency pump running. The second pump that's in there is considered the emergency pump, so we did turn that on the other day. You might all have noticed there was a little bit of cloudy water. We think that that might have been one of the contributing factors, was just an old pump that hadn't been turned on in quite some time, stirring up a little extra sediment and pumping some stuff down the lines. We ended up isolating it out and running it for about 2 hours and just letting it flow out the side of the building to really clean it out and clear it up. We ended up running both pumps to really de-water both those wells and make sure that we didn't have any contaminants or anything in there. It really seemed to help clean up the water a little bit. Touching on that, we had several complaints of milky water, and we really appreciate you guys calling us up and letting us know what was going on. We did run around the town. We did a bunch of different sampling. We are still awaiting the results on those samples, but we do not believe that there is anything microbiological in the system. We feel that with the pump getting kicked back on, with all the different digs and opening of the system that we've been doing, with all the valves that we've been turning and closing and opening, as well as with the weather, when the weather heats up, the water flips and has a tendency to kick up anything that's laying on the bottom of the pipes, as well as draining that tank and cleaning it out and everything like that. We definitely got a little bit of, I guess, particulate kind of sediment kicked up into our water system. We didn't get any spikes on our turbidity meters or anything like that, so it wasn't something that we were super concerned about and we didn't know about, but the phone calls and the emails, they help us out. It really helps us do our job and make sure that we can give you guys the best product that we possibly can. We have been monitoring all the disinfectant levels from all over town, and everything is looking perfect. It's looking exactly where it needs to be to make sure that we're not having any issues with that. We did 5-meter replaces. We had to jet a sewer line out. We had Harrison come out and help us with that. That was really awesome, and then come and help us. We potholed 6-meter pits. We're continuing to get the cross connection surveys back and the lead and copper surveys back. We are going through every single one of those. We will be reaching out to anyone who wants their water system evaluated in probably the next month or two, once we get a few more requests in. We're up to about 17% identification on all the lines going to everybody's house and what everybody has going into their house. We have been uncovering a couple of broken lead goosenecks here, there, and everywhere. If you've noticed, there's a big hole across from the clinic. We're waiting parts. We have one more part to get before we can fix that up and rebury it. That was a giant 2-inch lead gooseneck that we're gonna have to cut out of there and replace. We had 10 service turn-ons and shut-offs, and we had 8 main repairs or service line repairs. we've been digging all over town. We've been finding all kinds of cool stuff in the ground, and just really having fun playing in the mud. And then we did 26 locates for diggers all over the town. It's great to see everybody doing all their work. As for the sewer plant, we removed and replaced one of the sludge pumps in the digester. Jared came out and wired that out for us. We got it running, it's running real well, and we've been able to start getting water up into our reed beds and everything like that. We took the power washer out there, we power washed out the UV lights and got those installed. And as well as while we had the power washer up there, we power washed the basins and a lot of the grates and everything like that. So we are trying to keep that clean and running well. We added about 1,000 mosquito fish to the clarifiers to help keep the bloodworms and the mosquitoes down this year in that area. 100, that's what I said. Oh, I said 1,000? Thousands of them, they're everywhere, everywhere. No, 100 of them, sorry. My head. And that should help control the redworms and the mosquitoes out there. We did help with the cemetery graves. We dug a couple graves out there. What else do we have? And then we did the concrete work out on 1st Street and 2nd Street. We also had the sergeant rep come out and look at our pumps out there in the gallery. He let us know that they refurbed the pump that we're currently using to pump water from the gallery to the raw water tank about 5 years ago. They just came in, they have a truck, they just pulled it right out through the ceiling, they took it off to their shop, they refurbed it, they brought it back and slammed it back in. We asked him to put a quote together for next year's budget to see if we can't do that with the secondary pump. And we're also looking into getting that pump so that it's also on VFD, so that way we can run it from the plant without having to go all the way down there and flip a whole bunch of switches and get all that done. So that way we can start flip-flopping them, so we don't have that problem where that pump just sits and sits and sits. Like it's great that it's sitting and it works, but it's not ideal for it to just be sitting there for a long time rusting out, and then when we try to kick it on, we end up clouding up our water and everything like that. So we are putting together a few ideas and kind of a long-term plan for maybe next year getting that done. As well as we are still working with the engineers on the infiltration gallery project. It looks nice, it's all right. We're still getting a little bit of washout, and it's still kind of washing out towards where it was washing out before. We're trying to get a little more water directed back down that channel. We got it about 60-40 right now. I believe they had a Zoom or something, I'm not sure. I saw a bunch of emails today, but I didn't participate. We had the Hawk representative out today, so we have our brand new CO unit in there monitoring our disinfectant levels, as well as all of our calibration on all of our Hawk equipment that's up there. Everything is running fine, everything is looking great. And we have everything on one contract now, I believe. I also have some quotes I can pass on to you for what it will take for us to come off that contract next year and maintain it ourselves if we want to, but the contract is more of a insurance kind of liability than it is for the work, you know. But to have the different parts we need to have on the shelf in order to repair or change anything in emergency, all the chemicals and calibration units and everything we would need, these all have to be upgraded every year anyway. So there would be a small kind of hit to have a few pieces of equipment on the shelf, and then there would be a yearly expense associated with that calibration as well. We have those quotes, we can pass those on to you guys. So, anybody have any questions for us?
I do.
Yeah.
You know the guy that was here a while ago about the grant that's available to you all?
The MC Shaft,
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
not gotten any responses back from him.
Okay, you have contacted him now?
I have not reached out to him. We've
Okay.
been a little bit busy.
Yeah, I understand that, but if you need some help, let us know.
No, yeah.
Let me know, I'd be glad to call it.
Okay.
You know, I don't know any of the technical stuff, but I just don't want us to not utilize that money.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't know if that was something that he was just kind of informing us that was out there, or if it was something he was actively working on,
It sounded like he was gonna even help
trying
us.
to help us
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, that's the way I took it.
I've actually just been kind of waiting for him to get back to us about the anodes. I know he was reaching out to someone who was a little more well-versed in the sacrificial anodes and maybe where we could get our hands on some. But it's not, we just haven't had the time to sit
Well,
down.
and I understand, but if you
tear
think
apart.
about it, would you give April or myself or
Yes,
something,
ma'am.
the name of the guy and how to contact?
Absolutely,
I appreciate it.
absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Next, we go to ordinances and resolutions. Number 5, discuss and approve disapprove resolution 2025-03 regarding changes to current personnel policies and procedural manual regarding vacation and compensatory time. Nice. My tongue won't be-
It's hard when we screw it up the first time.
Right?
You want me to
Reset. Yeah, if you could explain where we're at with that and why we needed to develop
Yeah.
clarification, that would be wonderful.
So we've had, going through vacation time, accrued time, comp times that everybody has. Some things haven't been followed so much, and so we've got exorbitant amounts for people. And based on state of Nebraska's laws and our liabilities in that, we really want to work with a cap of the 80 hours for vacation, 80 hours on comp time. If you reach your cap, then you just don't, you won't accrue until your cap comes down. So if you're doing comp time and you hit the 80 hours comp time, you automatically then it rolls into overtime. You get paid for it as overtime, not as banked comp time. So because we are looking forward and we, you know, the end of our fiscal year is October 1st, we'd like to try to get some of those balances taken care of. And it will assist us by updating the language in order to do that. And then all employees will understand exactly how it's going to work going forward. Again, nobody's going to lose anything. It's not, but we are going to want to start the capping process so that once, you know, if somebody were to quit, we don't owe them 2 months worth of pay, in essence, kind of thing. So it's pretty standard for cities and counties to have these kinds of caps and things, same with private business.
And this language is very similar language as to what was there. It's just what was there wasn't extremely clear, and so this is to make it definitely clear. There was misunderstanding with a former clerk and a former mayor that understood it to be what they've allowed it to be, or what they've allowed it to become, and now we have a bunch of times that are way past what we can afford to pay out to the employees, and we're just,
And we really
it no longer
wanted to
matches what we
take
have with
time.
policy. So we want to make sure that we clarify that. We also want to make sure that the employees understand that none of those accrued hours can be lost. That's nothing that we can take away from you. It's just you can't earn any more until you're below that cap, is what we've clarified that this new policy with. So once you get below that cap, or once you use it below that cap, then you can start earning again. But until you're below that cap, you just can't earn again.
Would that start date be today?
It
We can
actually
make that part
started
of
an
it.
hour ago, we just didn't tell you.
Is there a copy of the full resolution that we can see?
Yes. Didn't I did not make it?
In the budget?
It's probably in the binder one. There you go. You know, ultimately, we want employees taking their vacation time and not, you know, banking it for years on end. We want happy, well-educated adjusted. And you get that with some time away from the city sometimes.
This is personal.
I'm taking off a month to see. As Scott knows, we're working on, and April, we're working on the employee manual. But that's gonna take us a while, that's why this isn't waiting, because we really need to address the issue.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-03.
I have one question before we move forward. On this, are we changing our policy on overtime? Because I know we got a lot of people that work a lot more hours in a week, and they're already over that cap, you know, which would automatically put them into overtime. So are we gonna start limiting overtime to where once they reach their 80 hours or their 40 hours, we're like, hey, you gotta go home? Because otherwise this is gonna become a huge financial burden if we start paying somebody, you know, 40 hours of overtime every month. We're gonna run into this. I have a concern of that.
So they can still use comp time. I mean, they can still build comp time. It doesn't have to be overtime. None of that stuff has been taken away. It just has to be used more responsibly.
It has to be managed.
Yes, and that's ultimately what it comes
Supervisors
down
need to
to.
manage it, know where their employees are with regard to comp time and vacation time.
Okay.
And if they are at cap, then they're not gonna, we're not gonna accrue more comp.
I guess my example, say, I'm just gonna throw Dennis out. Say Dennis has got 150 hours of comp time, and we tell him, hey, you can't accrue no more comp time until you get back down to the 80 mark. But I also know that Dennis works, 10, 20 hours extra every pay period because he has to because of his job and his position. Are we gonna be able to afford paying that extra 10, 20, 30 hours of overtime every pay period?
We have to afford it either way, whether it's comp time or overtime.
Correct.
You end up
And
paying
it's
it
easier and
one
more
way or
affordable to do it as we go than as a lump sum at the
Right,
end.
and where the cap could become a problem, and I said Terry in my comments, is if you have an emergency situation, somebody's up against it, and they still have to do their overtime, they're just gonna get paid for their overtime. It doesn't change the fact that they need to do what they need to do, so.
I'll second the motion.
Dean,
Yes.
Bach,
Yes.
Patty?
Yes. Would you like me to get a different name?
You know, Patty Page, I just wanna say Patty Page all the
Okay.
time.
Number 6, discuss approve, disapprove resolution 2025-04 regarding exchange of property with Alicia Robertson.
Mayor, this is just the next step in the exchange we're doing. This is statutorily required. Once this is passed, we'll post a notice of the exchange for 7 days, then we'll close. Still waiting for the title.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Thank you.
Bach,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Thank you. New business. Number 7, discuss approve, disapprove the Chamber's request for the 4th of July events, includes street closures for the parade, designating no parking areas in the park for July 4th activities, and address any questions related to the 4th of July festivities. Brooke Canoe, our Chamber representative, is here to answer questions.
So just like every year, we would like to close down 2nd Street from Paddock down to Main for the parade route. I would also like the highway end of 1st Street closed down, so non-parade participants aren't blocking parade participants from trying to get to where they need to get to. And in the park, we're hoping to get quite a few vendors in, food trucks, and so we need to block off, or we're requesting to block off kind of horseshoe, or whatever you call it, like, what do you want to call it? Like,
So close to the pavilion, next to the
Yeah.
electrical.
Yeah, and then at the chamber, we're requesting use of the full park. I mean, there's some people going to aluminum can baseball. There's gonna be a volleyball tournament going on, turtle races. Why is my brain blank? the triathlon will be, ending on the south side of the park. If Augie's doing Indian tacos, which I haven't heard yet, and then whatever other food vendors come in, so. And then other people are more than welcome to set up tents or whatever they want to set up, but the chamber usually gets the park if that's okay. And there is a possibility that there will be an F-16 flyover before the parade. So, I'll let you know more on that when I hear more on that.
Is the high school still looking at closing down part of the 2nd Street?
Yeah. And she came and talked to us about that. That's separate from chamber events, but yeah, it'll be closed down from Lynn Street to Elm Street after the parade for basketball.
And on Saturday.
And on Saturday, yeah. So, and I guess, Kevin, do you know if our parade signs are in the fish hatchery?
Yes, for where they need to line up and all that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll need to get those at some point. Yeah, so I guess that's just what we're just okaying everything. Same stuff as every year, but.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll second.
DeBuck?
Yes.
Page? Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 8, we have a presentation by Randy Osborne regarding the sewer issues he's had at his property.
You need a cup of water, Lou? You said lots of water. I'll take a second, sorry. Hello, my name is Randy Osborne. I live at 303 Reed Street, and I have a statement here I want to read to the council and everything. I'd like you to introduce yourselves, if you would, please. So I know who you guys are. I know April, and I met Mr. DeBach earlier.
I'm Patty Page.
Nice to meet you, I'm Randy.
Christopher Dean.
Hi, nice to meet you, Randy Osborne.
Evan.
Nice to meet you, Adam. Okay. I'm here to tell you a story today about crap runs downhill. That's my attempt at levity and stuff, and I apologize. But literally, it's happened to our property. Unfortunately, we're at the bottom of that hill. I'm here today under the advice of my attorney, whose expertise is in municipal law, to make the city council aware of the issue of the blockage within the city sewer main line. Our problem started in February of 2022. The sewer line became plugged and backed up into our house. We caught it early enough to keep it from getting outside the floor drain of our basement. I contacted Pipeworks Plumbing, and they came up and attempted to unclog the sewer line using a rotary cable. Sorry, I don't speak very well for the crowds and stuff. So they spent 6 hours trying to remove the blockage, but to no avail. They thought the possible reason was that maybe my drain was clogged or my sewer line had collapsed. On 2/15 of 22, I had to run a new line to the city sewer main line after running the pipe and flushing with a bunch of water in the alley. And this restored flow. Then in August of 23, the sewer backed up again, and we caught it early enough again, and it came out before it came out of the floor drain. I had a friend come up and power jet the sewer using 100 foot of hose, which restored partial flow again. Then in April of 27th of 2024, it clogged for a third time. I contacted Julin Plumbing, and they came out and power jetted it using 100 foot plus of hose and restored partial flow. On Tuesday, April 30th, 2024, it became plugged up again, and it flooded 3/4 of our basement. Unfortunately, we did not catch it this time because we were out of town. Then on May 2nd, 2024, I had Pipeworks come back up and rotary cable the sewer out. I provided this to the city clerk there the other day, and it's the Pipeworks Plumbing note and bill, and it states on there, I don't know if you guys had a chance to review that and everything. What they had found was some bricks and tree roots in the sewer main of the city, and I don't know if you want me to read through that, if everybody's aware of it.
You can present what you'd like.
Okay, it's right here, and it basically says they extended out 135 foot total, which is in the city sewer main, and my property ends at 86 foot. And they found the bricks and tree roots. I have pictures if you guys would like to see any of that stuff. I provided that in 24 to Mayor Phillips, and he presented it to you guys in 2024. After several attempts by Pipeworks and the 135 foot of rotary cable, the breakage finally broke free and restored flow. This is when Pipeworks discovered the blockage in the city sewer main line. After aiming 135 rotary cable and a camera, they found bricks and tree roots in the city's main line. Pipeworks noted this on the invoice that I give you guys, and they also made a call to somebody in the city and described to them what they had found and what they'd seen and stuff. And I went back and reviewed the 24 council meeting on 5/14, and Dan Brine is on there, and he was saying something about they maybe knew of the blockage in 2023. The main wall had collapsed and wore some bricks down the hill. And this is stated in the video of 5/14/24 and stuff. The city has come up twice to attempted to jet the sewer, once in 24 and the second time on 5/3/25. On May 4th, I called the city emergency number and talked to Dennis, the city water supervisor. I think that's you, what you are. And on May 5th, I called and talked to Mayor April Grant and made her aware of the problem. I talked to both her and Dennis about the solution that was going to be taken to keep this from happening again. And May 6th, finally, the city brought up Harrison's power jetter and removed the blockage in the city sewer main line, which restored flow to our house. They've made 2 attempts to jet the main line out, and they keep jetting from the east, going east out of the street manhole cover, but towards Lola's place. I'm not sure if everybody knows where that's at, I'm not sure they do. And that doesn't make sense to me because it's uphill when they start jetting it and stuff. And I asked if they would take the trailer up and jet east or westbound instead of eastbound, and they didn't think it was necessary. But I was standing there when they jetted it this last time, and I didn't see no bricks or tree roots or anything wash out of the main line in the manhole cover with them when they were standing there. So this last time it's backed up, it's flooded 3/4 of our basement again, and I'm wondering how much it's going to cost to restore our house and get rid of the smell and return to a normal life. Ultimately, this will require deep cleaning, sanitizing, and replacement of a large portion of our finished basement that has been ruined by multiple floodings of raw sewage. So my attorney wanted me to come here and convey to you, the city council, and make you aware of it and ask you what the city council is going to do to guarantee the situation will not happen again. I asked the city to place themselves in our situation to not be able to use their home utilities for basically 60+ hours. No showering, no flushing toilets, no doing laundry, not being able to clean dishes and have raw sewage still running into your garage. Just the health ramifications of raw sewage running out of our clean out in our garage is unacceptable. My wife and I have been extremely ill for 5 days, and we finally went to see the doctor on 5/10/25, and we were prescribed medications to help with extreme nausea, stomach and intestinal distress. Because of this issue of getting sick, we missed celebrating my children's college graduation and career ceremonies over the weekend. I cannot express my frustration over this issue. So I guess I'd like to know what the city is going to do. And I know we talked, and I guess I'd like to know what you have planned and stuff.
We did talk, we talked extensively over the phone. And I told you that I didn't feel comfortable asking the council to completely replace the line if we weren't confident we knew what was going on. I was confident with what Dennis had presented already and the process that we had already explored. You had contacted him on a Saturday, and as of Monday, he got everything set up with Harrison for them to come down within 24 hours on Tuesday. They used their jet truck and they flushed everything. And we did find some small pieces, but not a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Correct. Right, and that's what he indicated. Following that is when I spoke to you and I said I'd be most comfortable with what Dennis had suggested is we have our annual cleaning crew, or I guess the company that comes in and helps the city as a whole professionally clean sections of our city at a time. And fortunately, we do have them coming at the end of May, and that's just a prime opportunity for us to take advantage of your section of area that's having trouble. So I thought that was an excellent suggestion that Dennis had made, and I would like to stay with that. They, not only they come in and clean those sections, but they give us an opportunity to point out any areas of the city that have major problems or that have had frequent problems so that we can pinpoint those when they come. That's something that we'd like to have that section done by them when they do come. When they do come, they do have capabilities of cameraing, taking pictures, stuff that is quite more technical than we have access to as a city or even as cities around us. And so I would like to still stick to having them come when they come at the end of May, see what they can figure out, what they can find out, what they can narrow down, and then making a game plan from there depending on what their findings are.
Okay. Could I request to be there to see what goes on?
I don't see that as a problem.
That won't be a problem, because, I mean, on the video and pictures I have, we got full-size bricks in there, and where they didn't wash any full-size bricks and tree roots out of there.
Okay.
It's my concern that they're still in there.
So you spoke both on the phone
Yeah.
here and then with Dennis multiple times about evidence that you have. Would you bring that all into the city so that you can show
Sure,
that to us?
I provided it last
It's
year.
been presented.
Yeah, last year, and
I
stuff.
do understand that. I've been on council for 2.5 years and I have yet to see it.
You were there in the meeting on 5/14 and you heard.
I approved the bill, but I did not know it to that extent. The mayor at the time had taken care of it, as that is common, and they were familiar with it, but I was not familiar with it to that extent at that time.
Okay, we provided everything last year and stuff, because when they talked about it, Dan Bryan said he watched the video and he says, yeah, there's bricks in there and they had washed out.
And Dan was just a supervisor at that time.
At
He's
time.
no longer with us.
I
So
understand
if
that
you
too.
could bring that in.
Yeah.
And Dennis and I could sit and go through it with you, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, I got it in my pocket, but we'll do it at another time. And like I said, I'm willing to work with you guys. I'm not trying to be a jerk and trying to be just, you know, a pain.
You want
and
to
stuff.
fix the problem.
Yeah, I know, and stuff, and we would like to fix it.
We need to get it cleaned up as well, and that's gonna be quite an expense. And since it's the city's, you know, when can we get somebody to clean it up? Our drains are already starting to run slow. So is it gonna make it till May, end of May?
So Dennis has already brought the truck in. It's my understanding that things are running well again.
They started running slow today.
Okay, I have not
Well,
been
well-
contacted to know that, or I have not.
I'm
taken
telling you
steps.
now.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll come in, provide you with the videos and pictures that we have and stuff, and we'll go from there and stuff. What's that?
Just keep in contact.
Okay.
If it becomes a big problem, let them know right away.
Right away and stuff, yeah, we will.
We did. We let them
Yeah,
know.
Saturday. and stuff.
It was unfortunate that we couldn't have some of our neighbors notified to maybe be more conservative with their water, because we were getting backwash from the neighbors. There was times when we weren't even using the water, and we'd go out and there was water flowing out the garage, and ended up in the street. There, you can still see toilet paper in our gutter. So, that's what's in our garage, that's what's in our bathroom, that's
Well,
what
we
soaked up
rinsed it.
everything.
Bleached it. Okay, we'll work with it and stuff and see what we can get done. I appreciate everybody's time, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, presentation by Lisa Stalker regarding staffing at the library.
Hi, okay, so we have made a request to advertise for part-time library aide position, 20 hours a week, $13.50 an hour, position to begin as soon as possible. The reason for this request, referencing the City of Crawford Municipal Code, Article 7, the library board shall have the authority to appoint a librarian and all other employees. The board shall have the supervisory authority over all employees of the library, including the librarian. All actions of the board shall be subject to the review and supervision of the city council. Also, the library board shall have the power and authority to appoint the librarian, to hire such other employees as it may deem necessary. Also, cost analysis. We went through this to see how this would reflect upon our current year budget. We anticipate a total cost for the rest of this fiscal year, June through September, that in wages, it would cost $4,860. It would cost $372 in payroll taxes for a total of $5,232. This leaves in those two budgets $9,171 and $702 for payroll taxes. So we will still have $9,873 unused in those two budgets of the library budget. The need for more labor and extended hours is clear. We've had a major increase in the usage and patronage at our library. Looking at the past 3 years, we took a chunk of time between October and April to match this current year. For this current year, our patronage has been 3,439 visitors to the library. This is up 139% from the previous year. The year before, 23 to 24, same period, 7 months between October and April, we had an increase of 207% usage of the library. So in the past 18 months, we've had a new librarian. We have had a marked increase in services that the library is able to provide to the community. We did a community needs survey last summer, where we did a survey of residents, and 55% of those folks responded that the #1 way the library could contribute more to community needs was by having more programming. So increasing the programs here at the library will require more time, development, preparation, and execution in addition to existing levels of programs and library services that we provide. The results we're hoping to attain with having additional staff time is to increase the library's open hours and to extend into the mornings and the weekends. We also want to expand services to include outreach to locations such as the villa, the school, and home delivery services for homebound patrons. To host more agencies and services visiting Crawford, and to afford the librarian more time and effort devoted to grant seeking, program development, goal achievement, renovations to collections and facility, and to develop additional services for local businesses, collaborate with the museum, senior center, and the school. And we believe increased weekend traffic will encourage tourists to explore Crawford. So that is the big presentation. I would also like to share, going back to the open hours, currently we're open Monday through Friday, noon to 6. We would like to extend that ultimately 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday. So that goes from 30 hours open to 48 hours that we would be available for folks to use the library. Long term, yes. Yes. Any questions?
I know I went through the budget with you guys this morning, and I have to commend Ashley. She's done a wonderful job with her budget on maintaining it and taking care of the library with as little money as possible. So I would commend you for that.
Thank you. Well, and moreover on the budget, we were awarded last fall a budget of $79,000.
$81,000 is what the
Final
city
budget is.
allocated budget said.
And our plan is to use how much of that?
If we were to be approved for hiring a part-time employee, we'd be using about $60,000 out of the $81,000.
I would love for you guys to meet with Terry and Jane and have an opportunity to go over your budget and compare what they've found with other budgets, just to make sure that that's still all is what we have in mind. There's been confusion in the last 2 years as far as what is our working budget and what's the budget that we report and what are real numbers.
Okay.
And they seem to have found a good way to recalculate that more accurately. If you just check with them.
That would be excellent because our source of information is the city. She pulls a report monthly.
Right.
We know exactly what we have spent.
We just have not had time to go through each and every one of them yet. But since you guys would like to evaluate that, I don't think it would take much for us to, the library's a fairly simple budget. And they could use kind of the same formula they tried to, what they did to work with the golf, and I think between the golf board and the city, we felt fairly confident that it's what it really should be. But if you guys would reach out with them, just when you have an early opportunity, that would be appreciated, independent of this.
Absolutely. We've been, the first year that I was the librarian, I did a lot of backwards engineering to figure out what our budget was.
Right.
Practically versus what the paper said, because I remember asking the first budget report I ever saw, and I was like, is this our actual budget? And we were told that's essentially a placeholding pretend number for right now, so don't spend anything. And so that first year, we did not spend anything. We did not buy any new books, we didn't do anything like that. But over the course of that year, we did get a sense of what our real expenses are. I do extensive, detailed tracking of what we do spend and compare it with those budgets as far as I can tell. And I have, this is a printout of the budget that I kind of create and maintain to have really up-to-date tracking. But it includes what the city's allocations were. I won't call it the budget because that's just what the program was said to allocate, but that might not reflect reality, and we've always known that. But at the same time, when it came time for budget season last year, those were the numbers we were judged against, even though we were told they were pretend. So when I
They're
asked,
from 2.5 years ago, unfortunately. They're from 2.5 years ago, the numbers that have rolled that you're seeing on like some of the reports I give to you. That happened across the board with all the departments. So you are absolutely correct, but we need to really look at some of the more actuaries versus what has just rolled for 2.5 years.
I understand.
Not really money allocated from the city.
right, and we've, yeah, like I said, we've always understood that. But just as a matter of principle, seeing as we did go through the whole budget proposal process last budget season, we did get this budget, and we just don't want to miss an opportunity if there is one to actually execute the vision, which that council at the time, and the mayor at that time did essentially approve that budget for us, the wish list budget that we proposed. They said they were shocked that we were asking for less money than the previous year, when in reality I was asking for double the practical budget, which was a dream shot for sure. But at the same time, the reality in the library is that we could do a whole lot for the city with just a little bit extra help. And we've been kind of preparing and priming and talking back and forth with our liaisons at the time, and warned in a friendly way, like, really don't bother doing that right now. Like, hold off, it's not the right time. And we've been trying to be very respectful of that, but as the end of the fiscal year approaches, we don't want it to be another thing that rolls over into a future budget without making sense. So that's a lot of what
We're
we're
going to have a
presenting.
more substantial budget, and budget season starts in July, as a whole, as a city.
That's our aspiration. We would love to know exactly what we genuinely have to
So
work
would
with.
we.
So
You're absolutely fair in asking that for sure.
Patty, did you have a question?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, do I look like that real quick? Well, I love the library here. I mean, I use it, I can. But, and I believe I told Ashley one of the first things, how come you're not open on Saturdays? Because, you know, I work Monday through Friday and Saturday would be great. But here's my question. I feel that 10 to 6 on Saturday, how did you come across that late in the day?
It's my dream to have consistent hours.
that is a long-term aspiration.
Okay, because that just seems like on a Saturday afternoon, if you've ever driven through town,
Yeah.
there's not much happening, right? So.
Well, we would like to change that.
Well, I get that, but I just thought
okay.
maybe we could lower the hours on
Three years
Saturday.
ago, we had hours where we were open 3 days of the week from 1 until 6, and then we were open 2 days of the week from 10 until 2, and it
People
was.
couldn't remember. Right.
So,
I get that.
11 days meeting in a row. So I believe we would graduate. We would open up the weekend, and then we would bump out that square.
Yeah, if we were to sketch in a whiteboard marker a projection of how that would grow, is first there would be a training period, so the hours wouldn't change at least for probably the first month or two if that was to go through. just while the new person gets trained. And then as I'm confident that they can handle basic library operations and running it on their own, then we could start expanding into morning hours, starting with like 10. And if it was a weekend, then like 10 to 2 would be the aspiration.
Yeah, I would think
for that.
To me, that's good.
So that would be the first baby step, and then develop further as things become available or as it feels natural to do so.
So are you going to be doing the training?
Yes.
Okay. And so for a period of time, we would be paying 2 salaries, correct?
I don't know if salary is the
Part,
right term.
oh, well, the part-time person and, well, you're on a salary now?
No, I am on a wage.
You're hourly, okay. So your hourly would go up? I mean, you'd be working more hours because you're training someone?
They would be training with me during regular hours.
Gotcha, okay.
So we wouldn't immediately expand our hours for that purpose, but.
I believe it is a worthy investment to have trained somebody, to have somebody here. We are a one-person staff.
Oh, yeah.
And so if we can't come up with volunteers to cover ASHE, then the library closes, and that's a disservice to the community. I think about how Fort Robinson just invested $800,000. The state invested $800,000 in Fort Robinson just this year. The previous year, they've done other investments into that resource for people to come visit this community. So if they feel confident about doing that, I think we can feel confident about increasing the services of the library and providing more services. We provide computer services, we provide youth services, we provide education and enrichment. Yeah, we are a place, a destination for people to come. There are very few places in this community for people to have to go. Summer's coming and not everybody has air conditioning, and guess what? The library and the bakery do. So,
Future way to the library.
Well, the library is definitely, I mean, I know it's a place where books are checked out, but it really is so much more than that. And the nature of libraries is changing a lot universally. But I can tell you from my own experience, working the last almost 2 years here now, that the opportunity that the library is becoming very apparent to people who, I have a dozen people each week in the last month who come in and say, I haven't been in here in years, but I've heard about it and I'm so excited. I'll come back for my library card here soon. And then I have these beautiful success stories of people who, because there's limited resources in town, you know, if you needed computer help or what have you, you'd have to go to probably maybe Chagrin or probably Scottsbluff or Rapid City to get similar service. But, you know, there's a patron, for example, just an example story, there's a patron who came in who's in a rough spot in her life. She had a incident that prevented her from maintaining her driver's license. And it was going to be hell and back to get it restored. She didn't know where to start. She came to the library for reference questions to find out what resources were available. She used our computer lab over the course of months to work on getting that restored. And then when she finally came in one day, beaming, where she looked so sad before, she said, I got it back, and I can be a real person in society again. And she was just, she poured out gratitude to the library for being a place where she could come and make that happen for herself. So, just an example of the fact that I know that libraries are not necessarily money makers. They're not about incomes, but they are about outcomes, and they turn out for this community. They really do. So, and I can only do so much as one person. I have big aspirations, but even I have limits. And
you have done a great job. Great job.
Appreciate that.
I will say my granddaughter likes to come here instead of the Chagrin library. This is her place. So, yeah, you've done a great job.
all right.
I know earlier today I did talk with the city clerk about where we are financially as a city, and she did make note that the library is probably the only one that's not in the negative right now. So.
Well, that's great to hear. It reflects my notes precisely.
All right. No other questions? All right, thank you.
Do we just?
We'll move on to number 10,
Okay.
which is the next item.
Do you want us to stick up for questions or anything?
Number 10, discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for part-time library aide position.
So where do you think we are, Terry?
I think it'd be
Feasibly
really
do
a
this?
super exercise to sit down with these ladies and whoever else and really explain where the numbers really aren't matching, you know, and see where you can make things, you know, take a look at it from that perspective.
Certainly.
And see where we can make it come out. You know, there's no doubt that in my
You're saying
mind.
that there's a discrepancy. We think we're $20,000 under budget with doing this. And you're
Because
telling
you
us
were
we're.
given numbers that weren't
Which is
very
why we
good.
haven't spent our full budget.
When you say the full budget, you're talking about a number that was provided to you, that was
Exactly,
the
I
budget.
understand that, which
Yeah.
is why. we
And that
haven't done
number
that.
is challenging for everybody, for every department. You're not the only one going through it, and it's certainly something that would behoove us to just sit down and let's look over. I know
Well-
you're doing a super job. I mean, that's why I made the comment to Scott today. I think the library is very good at watching every P's and Q's. I would really like you to have real numbers so that you can measure against that.
Absolutely.
So that we can
Absolutely.
measure whether or not that 5,000 some expense would be feasible or not? Is that what I'm understanding?
So there's a
If there's
meeting of the
money
city
in-
council on the 27th, correct? Is that the
In 2
next
weeks.
meeting?
I believe that's
Yes.
the next
Okay, okay. In my mind, I'm thinking it's the middle of June before we'd be able to bring this up again.
If I may, some of the problem may be, budgets are fine, but cash flows, we're trying to find where the money is.
That's a useful word to
Um,
use, thank you.
Being under budget's great, lauded, but if the cash flow's not there
Mhm.
for the whole,
Yeah.
and that's where I think we're trying to squeeze down to see exactly what cash flow we have.
Okay.
I don't think it's questioning what
No,
you've
I
done at
understand.
all, it's the big picture as to the cash flow.
Dennis?
Does it hurt to approve advertising though, in the meantime, while you look that over? And if you find out that, no, we don't have the money to do it, you just pull the advertisement as opposed to, you know, you actually get somebody that's applying during the advertisement and then you've already got somebody that is maybe ready to go on board in that amount of time that you're looking at the numbers? I mean, that's just a thought.
That's an option, but then you pay for something that you didn't end up using.
I guess that's true.
And sometimes they're setting somebody up, who think they're gonna get the job.
That exists.
Seen-
I just think, give
I've seen it
give
done,
somebody
But it's.
Would you be
maybe
comfortable
qualified.
to just table it to the next meeting so we could assess it back then, or would you like us to make a decision today?
If that is my choice, I want to see this succeed. So, yeah.
Great. I've got, I will be in touch to make an appointment to sit down together.
We'll do it right away.
So, I've got a gap in my availability next week, but, it'd be really nice to get that sorted so that next council meeting, we could talk about it in a very realistic way. I just wanted to ask, did you guys have any questions about the job description? Because it is kind of a change from what's been on the record historically with what.
I didn't have any issues with it, but I can only speak for myself.
I didn't, is it in my packet? What did it say?
So the primary difference is that in the
Oh, I
past,
see.
there was up to, say, 3 part-time employees working a collective 50 hours in the library. And there was a head librarian, an assistant librarian, and then kind of another assistant librarian, basically. But assistant librarian, the way that the Nebraska Library Commission kind of outlines the different positions that could be in a library, that's essentially the vice president of the library. And really what the library needs is much less intensive, and a library aide, as that job description describes, is a lot more practical than what we'd be going for.
Okay. Well, you both presented such great detail, and it's much appreciated. I would like to give you the opportunity to make it happen. So it sounds like if we just wait one more meeting, get the last item checked off the list, we should be able to make something.
And it would be a little less, a little more of a savings by that point too.
Sure.
So it would be that much less
That's
payroll that we would have paid for.
For sure. Okay, go ahead and do no action on number 10, please.
Thank you.
When you set up the
Wait, you said no
meeting-
action or table?
It'll be back on the next agenda.
Yeah, we'll put it back on the next day.
Thank you.
When you set up the meeting, Ashley, will you set it up where I can be there as a liaison?
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Number 11, discuss approve, disapprove names to be added to the city's liquor license. Is this the city's overall, or is this the one pertaining to the golf course?
This is the golf course.
This is the golf course.
Because there's been so much turnover who's
Yeah.
actually on it now.
Originally, it was mayor, president, council, one of the liaisons on the board, right?
The clubhouse.
Clubhouse manager. But didn't we need 4?
I don't know about that.
I think we need 5 total.
Yeah, there was a lot of names.
The liquor license holder, and then
The clerk was one.
4 more.
So I
it's
tried to
clerk,
put myself on there, I
mayor.
tried to take Shane off, it's been
Yeah.
a whole.
Yep, so it'll be
caboodle.
mayor, president, council, clerk, clubhouse manager, so that's 4. For some reason, I was thinking there was nothing.
Well, I would go for it.
Any golf board member.
I'm just asking.
I don't know, I can't
Probably
remember.
golf board.
See, I was thinking there was 3 people.
I don't know.
I was thinking there were 3 too, to be quite honest, because when I went to go change some of that, I was trying to clear it up and there wasn't that there.
Because, okay, we were to the understanding that, through the golf board, that it was the city clerk, the mayor, and the clubhouse manager were the only 3 names on the liquor license, and that has been through 6 managers, so I really don't know what it covers.
Okay, so is that what we want to just keep it as then?
I would just keep it as that 3. I don't see the need for 5.
Well, you have to, you have to assign the names to it and then it has to, there's a whole process in there.
Okay, so we would like to, I'm sorry, I'm not running on all cylinders today, my apologies. So mayor, clerk, clubhouse manager. And that's all we were thinking of, or did we want to add the president council?
If there's room for it, then put it on.
Okay,
If you don't want the names.
right. Well, we'll find out president later tonight, so as long as we have the titles there, we can plug in accordingly later.
I'll
So
make
the
a
4.
motion to approve those 4.
So 3 and the 4, okay. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Dean,
Yes.
Paige,
Yes.
Sabah.
Thank you. Number 12, discuss approve, disapprove the golf board's request to order more shirts from the pro shop, in the amount of $641.03.
She says she can sell these things, so. I think we're just restocking for the upcoming season, or for this season that we're in.
You're right, that's what I understood too.
Yeah, she says these aren't the big sizes though, right?
It's
Or
like
are
the
they?
one I've got on.
I,
Legend Views Golf t-shirts.
Yeah, it said 3 or 2, extra large, 2 extra
Oh,
large, 3 extra
these-
large, 4 extra large.
Yes.
we already approved these, the last meeting.
Yeah, I thought we approved last meeting.
Yeah.
An order for t-shirts.
For the
Because they
XLs.
originally said that the order was over 1,000 and then they reduced it down
I
There might be
think the
confusion as
one
to
that
which
was
one.
last approved was for polos and sweatshirts and stuff. And the t-shirts are a different item than you guys approved last time. Because that was my understanding at the last council meeting I was at, that it was for show pro shop apparel. And the t-shirts were not in that.
Previous order too.
So,
Okay, so now looking at this over closer. we discussed that for the 3 and 4X, 5 of them, really? You're gonna sell 5 each for 3 and 4X both?
My argument was, no, that those should be reduced by 2 to 3 at best. See how it goes.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time keeping the golf board meeting different from what we discussed in this meeting, so
I wasn't at the golf board meeting.
I don't know how I witnessed something, but I thought I remembered it being discussed that with the bigger sizes, you guys would do.
For the polos.
Yeah, like a special order, like if
and
somebody
a
was
special order.
concerned with the size we didn't have, they would kind of put it in
Yeah.
order, then, you know, they'd kind of prepay.
They would
and then
pay
we'd
for
order
it in
them.
advance before
I don't,
we
was
ordered
that in
it.
the dual meeting that, maybe that was brought up,
Yes,
that's why I'm
it-
remembering that?
It was at the last council meeting.
Oh, because you asked it.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, and that would make sense.
I think, we had, addressed because you order, 3 and 4X shirts, they sit on the shelf forever and ever. That's why we had decided for the polo sweatshirts and that kind of thing, that if they want a larger size, they have to, we will special order it through, money in advance before they're ordered, so it doesn't cut into our budget.
Right.
But
That's
it
what
would
I-
run through the city. And the t-shirt thing that we're discussing now is a total, that's different. She wants to order different sizes, I know. Like, the one I've got on, we paid $5 for and we sold them for 20. I mean, it's a good markup, it's a good moneymaker, and the extra larges and larges went fast, so. And I don't know if we need that many 3X and 4X.
Would you like us to just?
Well, yeah, we do. I mean.
So how about this? Since you're the liaison for the clubhouse, if we just approve the purchase and then you go discuss it with,
Missy?
yeah, we can approve up to, but
Okay.
but if you really feel that we don't need 5 of each of those, then it's up to you to tell her, no, we're not gonna order that many. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that all right with everybody else?
Can I ask a question though? Yes. 4th of July, they have like different vendors and stuff. Have y'all ever thought about selling those, to non-golfers? There's people in town that might buy them that don't go out to the club. People do go out and buy them at the clubhouse that don't golf. Okay, I would just think that's a good moneymaker for.
How long does it take you guys to get these after you order them?
Not very long, 2-3 weeks. We will have them in, by the 4th of July. We've got the tournaments, like, I know we sold a lot of stuff at the alumni golf tournament, which is the last, when is alumni the last? June 28th, so I think it's a good money maker for us.
I'm all for, buy as many shirts as you want as long as you sell them. It's just that by September 30th, then it starts becoming an issue.
Yeah.
If they're still sitting on the shelf.
We have our big tournaments, the end of August, and the Memorial Tournament, the 26th of August, I believe, and then 2 weeks later, we have the 3-man, and we've had a lot of requests for shirts that we don't have in stock to sell.
Okay. So you think maybe even these bigger sizes would sell during the tournaments then, maybe?
I think we need to discuss it with Missy.
Okay.
What would you like to make for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, and then it's up to Blue to discuss with Missy.
For up to this amount, is that what you're?
Yeah,
looking
up to this amount. Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Dean?
Yes.
Devon?
Yes.
Paige? Yes.
Thank you. Number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove proceeding with creating ordinance allowing use of golf carts within the city limits. This has been a popular topic that keeps coming up quite often. It's come up before, and we've Adam's worked with kind of setting up an ordinance to start off with anyway, or at least something to consider and throw around. I do think it requires more discussion. I spoke with Ms. Nixon earlier today about the path and the concern for the carts crossing the path. She had concern that the golf board was presenting this, and I clarified that this is not at the request of the golf board at all. It's just the public that keeps bringing this forward. But maybe that would be the more appropriate way for us to handle this, is to ask the golf board to kind of take over this subject and see if they would be willing to set up a time and appointment to meet with the trail board.
It was not, we have a person that drives her golf cart out there. We did meet with 3 of the
Right, but it's not their board.
Well, we can't make decisions outside of a board meeting, as you
Okay.
think, so.
Well, they were just dead set against it, but
I get it.
we had a patron that, from the golf course, wrote to the higher up, and they said there should not be a problem with putting a crossing in. And we went down eastern Nebraska to get a piece of farm equipment. And I counted all the crossings on the trail around Valentine, Gordon and stuff. And there are crossings, so we will set up a meeting with them. It would require like a 10-foot crossing, and we would maintain the crossing. We would put signage up.
Yeah, bring your proposal, because we do have easements with other people.
Okay.
It's not out of our realm, but I need to know what the
okay.
proposal is.
We will come to that. We were told, don't even attempt to do it, don't try it, with 3 of your members.
It sounds
So-
like we can come to a conclusion
Okay.
if we've got 2 boards and you guys can put official meeting together and
Okay.
do some really nice brainstorming and come up with a way that it works for both systems, both programs, and both boards. That would be much appreciated. And once you guys can put together something, if you want to bring that back to the city, we'd be more than happy to help you implement it.
I have a
Brad,
little
did
bit
you
of
have
input
something?
too. I just bought a golf cart. I absolutely love it. It's my toy. But anyway, checking into some things around here just to see what goes on. And if you have a golf membership, you can get your golf cart green fee as an additional fee of $130 or something like that. So you pay for your membership, you pay for your to get on to the golf course with your golf cart and everything. My golf cart has blinkers and brake lights and everything else on it. I just was curious to know from a city's point of view, what else I would need to be able to drive it, around the city.
Sure.
Because
So that's exactly what else we would need to consider. So after they could get to the point of a decision that works best for both the golf course and the trail board, then they could go ahead and present that to us. We could take that into consideration, but there's other things that the city needs to consider. We need to consider, how we would regulate such an ordinance. And so, like you said,
Like what do you want to-
turntables,
what
something
do you
like
want to
that, that's
regulate?
all, well, we don't know yet.
Statutorily.
But it's something that we will have to
Statutorily,
decide.
there's certain things we have to have in an ordinance. And there was an ordinance prepared in September of last year about using golf carts around town,
Uh-huh.
okay? And there's twofold thing going on here. You have people that just want to drive their golf carts around town. That's
True.
one.
Yep.
But we also had the people that wanted to drive their carts to the golf course.
True.
Which, without an agreement for access across the trail,
Yep.
you can't drive it on the highway. That's illegal by state law. I know,
Okay.
but it is.
That's okay. I understand.
Enforcement might not be what it is, but it is against the law.
Okay, all right.
So, and you're certainly welcome. Like I said, there was an ordinance that fits with state statute, which has all the requirements set out by state statute that we had prepared. We'll have it if the discussion with the boards comes about.
Sure.
And they ask me to push forward, we'll get it out there for the public to look at.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to look at it. I'm interested just to have fun.
Sure.
Just to drive around. But I have all the blinkers and all that good stuff that should make it like a legalized vehicle.
There's requirements for licensure, lights, all those things. Also, the city would have to discuss, and it's part of the ordinance we drafted, we would license annually. If you want to get a license or a permit to drive your car around town, you'd have to go to the clerk's office, get a license for a sticker to put in your golf cart. That way, law enforcement, and some of this is law enforcement driven, they want to know that people can be on the roads.
Yeah.
So that's just a discussion that they have to think about.
Okay.
As this moves
All
forward.
right, I understand that there's lots of stuff, and everything. I'm just, interested in cruising around in my golf cart, and I have everything on my golf cart that every automobile has and everything. So if I need to license my golf cart and insure it, and then I can drive, perfect. But I just need to know what I need to do.
I was talking to a gal over at Doss County, and she says you can't license a golf cart.
I don't
It's,
know.
it's not a state license. It would be a city license, a city permit. It's a permit, okay? It's a city, that's the discussion. They don't have to do that, but they can. If
It's part of what we're visiting.
It's more about knowing,
and how we want to create it.
because the way it was set up is when you go in to get your permit, you prove that you have the insurance on it. It's more of a liability protection issue.
Sure.
So, but with that, there are costs of having a clerk deal with this. It wasn't gonna be anything, I don't think, extravagant, just the processing.
See, I think we're heading on the right track. I think working with the path people to get a path, and working with people to get it so you can drive it around town, I think that's a great way to do. We just need to know, as golf cart owners, what we need to do. So,
I just want to drive mine to work.
I hear you.
I just want to go 6 blocks and go to work.
all right, well, anyway.
Fair enough.
So, what do you want us to do next? You want us to leave it up to the,
I think that it would, your issue I get. But if we pass a golf cart ordinance and we don't have a way to get the golf cart or golf course, we're gonna have a problem.
Sure.
Because they're gonna be not happy with people going across.
Sure.
Or the state trailer sitting out there tagging us all trying to get down the highway.
Yeah.
Which seems silly, but they do it.
I know.
Somebody would complain, I promise you.
So let's leave it up to the path people to get something set up first, and then go from there.
I think if the golf board, at least a representative or a couple, meet with the path, there's a trail board. The trail board can have that discussion. If they're good to go, they figure out what they need. They come back and say, we've got an agreement, they've passed it, and then it comes back here and say, okay, what do we need to do to get this order done?
Perfect.
Yeah,
I
but
like
what
it.
does that have to do with the ones that just want to like drive it to work? I don't want to go to the
It
golf course.
really doesn't, other than it was the direction at the time that we needed to have this all worked out, because again, you wouldn't be causing a problem. But it'll be the 25 other people with golf carts that are driving across the trail and down the highway to get to the golf course, either trespassing or illegally. So the council at the time, back in September, whenever, said, let's try to see if we can get this all put together at the same time, so we don't have all these issues.
Yeah. It sounds like
It's taken a long time.
Well, we're certain.
So now I cannot take my golf cart to work. Yes.
No,
Not legally.
not legally.
Because I've been picked up twice with it. And the third time I might be over there in the county jail. And it just,
Doing it illegally.
Quite honestly, there is an ordinance drafted,
but I see other ones.
probably some
Last
tweaks
night
that
there's
need to
2 of
happen.
them. But the one stopped.
They just kind of wanted to make sure it all kind of came together at the same time.
Tonight.
They'll get you there. It sounds like it's impossible.
Go ahead.
Be patient.
I want
I've been
to.
doing this since last August.
Okay, I want to go ahead and thank both you ladies for representing the boards that you do and agreeing to meet up to see if we can come to an agreement with this. I really appreciate it as far as the city, so thank you. And we'll work with you if we can help schedule that, let us know. So, just a no action would be fine at this time then? Okay. Number 14, discuss, approve, disapprove park board recommendation for seasonal park cemetery employee.
So we did interview 3 people, and April told us 1. And, gosh, I gotta remember her name, I forgot already. Scott, do you?
I don't have it on me, no.
Oh, I forgot her name. Let me see if I got it in my notes, hang on.
You gotta know who it is, right?
Emo brain, one more time, okay. I apologize for that, I meant to write that down. Come on, where is that? Starts with H, does that help you?
Is she here?
No. She is. She's a high schooler in Chadron.
I believe she's a junior in high
Junior in
school.
high school in Chadron.
She does have her valid driver's license.
Yep, we've checked all the details. She has a great background.
I know she worked for Soysters on the ranch, driving
Humphrey.
equipment and tractors.
Got it. Humphrey.
Okay, her first name or not?
Macy.
Is that it?
Macy Humphrey, Diane, and.
Yeah,
No,
yes.
Macy's not a high school
It's not
student.
Macy, it's.
What's the oldest one?
No.
Yeah,
Chloe is the.
Chloe, that's it.
Okay.
Bingo. Sorry, I just forgot to break that one down and I had a little bit of a hard time with names, so. She was our top pick for our candidates.
So she's who you're suggesting for hire?
Yes.
Okay.
She can start fairly soon and then we'll be going back to school in August, so.
I think the 22nd was the day, I think,
Yes.
if I remember, she said she's available to come to work.
Okay, do I have a motion for,
What do you think, Terry?
as far as the budget part?
I gave that to the park board to review, and we're working into that, so. I mean, I do know last year they had, a couple more people because they were part-time, so it's gonna be full-time equivalent. This, one of their people is part-time now, so this would basically one full-time, right?
How many hours is she looking for a week?
Well, she would be a full-time equivalent for the summer, yes. But we'll have one who is not. And those would be the only two temporary employees that we have.
What does she do? Mow and.
Taking care of the grounds for the most part, yes.
I would make a motion to approve hiring for $13.50
Chloe
an hour.
Humphreys at $13.50, okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
DeBock?
Yes.
Page? Yep. Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 15, discuss approve, disapprove park board proposal to complete 4 more RV pads located at the
Don't go
West
away,
Lincoln site.
I will hold it. But I have some other stuff that I gotta get. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a piece of paper. Just pass those down there. So we've had a proposal to take a look at completing the camper pads that are at the Waitiki grounds. There are 4 with electricity. There's no real good base underneath them, and there is no water to them. And so what I did is I tried to put together a budget that I thought would be practical, because I looked at the income that our 4 council members, this is in my mind, our 4 pads currently make, the ones that are fully electric with water. And so I looked at the annual income, and it runs about $3,600. I said, wow, that's great. There is an electrical expense to that, so I subtracted that out, that $850. So an income of about $2,750. We looked at what would need to be done. We would need to do some site prep because it's sitting, those electrical outlets are pretty close to the creek, and the waters or the land is pretty soft. And so in order to hold a good base of gravel, it needs to be worked a little bit and tamped down. So there'd be some prep there, a little bit of tree pruning, not a whole bunch. And I didn't know who might be able to do that, but I would like to hopefully propose that maybe the city crew can do that at some time. Looking at water line, the best guess right now for PEX line is about $200 for what we need. Frost-free spigots, 3 of those for $630 would be a total, $170 a piece. I talked to Edward. I've talked to a lot of people, and I get more numbers every time I talk to him. So he talked about a tapping fee. I hadn't heard that until...
That came right from Jody when we were talking with her the other day.
Because you did look at it, and we're talking about tapping into the main. So that's, at this point, what I know is $700. You got fittings and miscellaneous stuff. We talked to somebody who might haul us some gravel. We need about 2 loads of gravel because there's 4 sites plus the entrance to that Wachipi site from the road has got a pretty good dip in it. And people don't want to drag their campers, so probably a little gravel there. Got a quote today for $1,100 for 2 loads. And then we need to put in the water line. And about 525 feet, that's a little bit of a guess at $2 a foot. It used to be $1 a foot. I'm pretty sure that's not it anymore. So anyway, so that's what I came up with as a potential cost and the work needed to make those fully functional for people to use. I mean, you can plug into them now, but not many people know about them, 1, and 2, they're on a little bit of soft ground. But it would expand what we can offer to people in the park.
So I do have one question, and it's just inquisitive. I think we have the potential to make a lot more with camping in the park than we do, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of honest campers. We've seen so many lately that haven't been very honest with it. Is there a way or a system that exists that if they make a purchase through an app, then it can turn on these facilities, or we have some sort of way to make it where they can be in that spot, but the facilities, they don't have, the water or the electrical doesn't, in a sense, turn on until they've made a payment. Does that exist? I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's probably something that...
I'm sure, yeah.
I'm sure there's probably something that we could do. If you give me a chance to reach out to maybe Core Maine, maybe reach out to Northwest Pipe, maybe reach out to our guys and see if they've heard or have anything like that. I mean, it'd be great if we just had an electric turn on and shut off, something of the sort.
And I'm not sure, maybe that's something that just regular camping facilities are really familiar with and whatnot. I'm just not familiar with it, but I just didn't know if there was anything that we could do or investigate to put a cap to some of the non-payments that we've had, because it seems like we've had more and more, and it stinks that we're missing out on them.
Yeah, we're taking so much time out of somebody's day.
Yeah, and go check it and then not end up with anything. It's really disappointing. And I mean, we have it set up fairly easy. I mean, don't they have access to pay that online if they needed to also?
No, I don't think the online's there.
Yes,
So I
Jody
think
said the other day that
they could at City Hall, but
they
maybe
take
they're
them
just
on
not
the city website.
So maybe we need to, maybe if we put signage in the park that made that clear or made that advertised and it is as an additional option, maybe somebody would use it more often, because it isn't as common for people to carry cash on them as they once did, and traveling through and leaving a check somewhere is not very realistic either. So maybe that would help with deterring some drive-offs and whatnot, but just to pick your brain.
And we could certainly follow up on those things, but I don't know the answers.
Sure.
What was the number again? I know we discussed it, of how much we made off of the 4 camp pads that we have currently.
Right about $3,600.
And we're looking at possibly doubling that.
But that's not what we've counted as made, that's what we've counted as reservation.
No, that was,
actually
I asked Terry to just run me a list of.
So those are the ones that have paid. There's a good chance we could be making more than that
yeah.
if everybody paid. Okay, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So how do we know that they paid? Kevin, when you drive through, how do you know that they've paid?
We do have Bill Flecker that drives through there every morning, and he he notices whether their campers are paying or not, but he's not the camping police, so he will not confront
Right.
non-payers.
Not asking him to do that. I just wanna know how you know if they pay.
Tim normally drives through every morning.
Tim is the debt collector, and he knows, and I'm sure if he reports that to the hall, if they have non-payers or not.
If they had the same system they had when I was there, it had inside the envelope, it had a number on the outside of the envelope, you wrote your information, you put your PIN in there, and then inside the envelope, it had a little kind of like cardstock thing that has a number, and then it said pay through. So he would know, based off that number that's in their windshield, whether that envelope matched up.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
the honor
the-
system, so people do get the envelope, and they do
Right.
have a separate ticket they put in the windshield, so that's not the issue, is people come in and not being.
No, Chris was asking how does he know if that person paid?
Oh,
And I
there
was
is
just
a
saying if
separate-
it's in the windshield.
There is a separate.
It wouldn't be so bad, but if it just, maybe just had a power, not the power, maybe be more effective.
I don't think we charge the park for any of that water. We meter it, but
Right.
we don't
I don't
send
think
a
it is
bill
either,
out.
so-
And we just meter
But we
that
do have
water
to
so
pay
that
that
we can
electrical
track
bill. I mean,
it
that's not something we could-
for our reports. Like
So
we
maybe
have
if
to
we
track that
could
water.
figure out a way to turn that on again, off again.
So this tap fee of $700, so we write ourselves a check?
That's what I asked Edward, is that?
Well, and that's, so we're not 100% on whether or not it would be him and I going out there and tapping with the equipment that we have sitting in the shop that I don't know when the last time it was used. Or if that $700 is because we have to call a contractor to come in and tap that line for us.
Wasn't there an ordinance that said any new additional lines had to be from a licensed?
Yep.
I believe so,
And that's maybe what happened.
but I don't know if that.
It didn't
Where
say
this
anything
would be like
about.
service line as opposed to a main
Right.
line.
Mhm.
I don't know the for sure particulars of it.
But I
It's not a
did.
metered line, so.
It would be metered.
Yeah,
We would have to meter it so that we know how much water is going through there, just because we have to track it.
Yeah.
So,
So we tap it and we'd slide the meter pin in right there and then they would run the line.
525 feet for, of trenching, so where is the main that? you
There
come into?
is a 4-inch PVC main that goes from the teardrop straight across the field out to the retention dam, right underneath the street right there. So we would be tapping it essentially
South side of that.
the south side of the road there where there's a little
At the
pull
start
off.
of those camping sites.
And we would send it straight across.
Yeah,
Close
it'd
to
be
that.
east of that.
Because there's
Basically,
that little loop.
50 yards?
Yeah, there's a little
Yeah,
loop right
yeah.
there.
On the south
That-
side.
It goes
Yeah.
right there on the.
Right on the edge of that
basically
loop.
before you get across
Inside
the
of
trees,
it.
the
So they'd have to come to the
rodeo
backside
part
of that
it.
loop to.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can just shoot straight across there.
That's not-
Cause we thought we were gonna have to go across the road, but it turns out there's a main over there already.
Jenny?
Jenny, just to give you a heads up, once you do put this in place too, MPPD, and Terry could probably show you on the other bill, because those parking RV spots are separate. If you're not aware, your thermal rate and your fee will change, because you will be collecting a fee, your commercial fee will change. You won't be getting the municipal fee like you're collecting right now on MPPD's bill.
Why again?
So
The
we,
electrical.
because we collect on the camping fees,
Right.
NPPD charges us a different thermal rate and a different service rate for those 4 spots from the rest of the city. Because we collect money for them, revenue on that.
Commercial.
So it's not it's more commercial than it is municipal. So that may happen to you.
I see what you're saying.
So just to let you know.
Well, I assume that what they're already paying, which that's what this number is, because I asked Jane to chase it out for me.
But she may be using that. Jane may have already caught it, but just to double
Okay.
check.
Good to know.
So.
Okay.
Question on the gravel, was that Scott Wilkinson?
Was, yes.
I mean,
it's an upfront cost, but it pays for itself possibly in a year.
I think if we were smart and we kinda got on it now, we could have it in time for the 4th of July, we could have it for the rock show.
It's at least at the beginning of the season, right?
But we're gonna have to get moving on it now.
I did reach out to Northwest Pipe to see if they could do a special run of maybe 5 to 1,000 foot of the 3/4 to see if we can get a better deal on it. And then that way the water department could kind of piggyback in on that purchase, because we have been tearing up a lot of the city lately, and we could use those materials.
So how big a line are you gonna run?
3/4.
From that tap?
Yeah.
You're gonna just run 3/4?
Because it's just the one, yeah, it'd just be the one service line for those 4. That'd be the only thing it's feeding.
Well, I'm just thinking that, do we need to, if we're digging a hole, that maybe we need to plan for the future and bring, at least have the capability of more capacity over there?
I don't know if we have any more room over there where we can expand into any more camping pads in the future. I mean, we're kind of limited where it's at right now. I don't think we could fit more than 4.
You don't think where they've cleaned out all those dead trees on
Where
the
like
other side?
you're talking like the old
between the
airsoft
rivers?
It's
area?
not level enough. I think
Yeah.
where it's kind of on a slope, I don't think that'd be somewhere where we can put campers in.
Well, we can look at that as a possibility, but if we increase pipe size, it's gonna increase costs by quite a bit.
Mhm.
Well, the road base is critical. I mean, there's a lot of varmints over there that do exactly what they do in grandstands or rodeo grounds. So, I mean, the road base is essential.
I mean, flow rate, 3/4 inch. What is our pressure running at the park right now? 60 PSI?
Between 50 and 70.
I think we'd be fine with
Right.
3/4 inch.
I think we'd be fine for 4 sites, absolutely.
I mean, the campers are only gonna fill as needed, so I mean, it's not like it's gonna be a constant rate.
We're not putting a bathhouse in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, plan for the future.
There were 3 sites.
There's 4.
There's 4.
Yep.
Is one of them difficult for,
So there's 2 different sizes in spaces, so, and I put that in here, but there's 2 spaces for a smaller camper and then 2 for full-size campers, so.
I see.
Yeah, I wrote it down there
It
somewhere.
just sounded like if a couple of them were taken and the 3rd one has to park a funny way or something when the last.
I think once you put the pads in, you've got the space aligned.
I see.
For those, and actually, most of the activity is on the other side of that clearing.
I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Kate? Yes.
Thank you. Number 16, thank you, Jen. Number 16, discuss approve, disapprove designating a weekend for citywide cleanup.
What weekend have we normally been doing that on?
I
Remember
think
that was
it's-
first part of June, if I remember.
Well, I think it happened actually earlier in the season where it was kind of in line with like Earth Day or something like that, and then just the school was still in session. I know originally when Patty had mentioned it, she had in mind the weekend that they're gonna do that area garage sale, and I said, well, maybe the perfect weekend to do this would be the weekend right after that, so that when everybody's stuck with the stuff that they weren't able to sell, we can help them get rid of it all. So that's something to consider.
Maybe June 14th.
I think that was June.
The Frontier Pines is the 6th or the 8th, that's June.
14.
And hopefully we can do this more than just once a year, is my plan. But in my small town, in the other side of the state, city guys, you'll get a little comp time on this deal maybe. But,
We can't handle any more content.
well, this is on Saturdays, so, okay. But anyway, a lot of people don't have pickups, a lot of people don't have the incentive to clean up, and we get negative, everybody does, and Joe Blow down the street, this place looks like crap. Well, maybe Joe Blow can, and I don't, hopefully there's not a Joe that way, but anyway, you know, maybe we can all start working as a community to clean things up. And I actually was, a person came to me and said, well, I'd like it every week, you know, for a while, it might take that long. So, but this is the start of my Clean Up Crawford thing. What they did is, you know, we need to really announce it, put it out. Then Saturday morning, the city guys came with pickups and drove up and down the alleys, okay? If you were an elderly person and you couldn't put it out in your alley, you called the city office and they would come help, you know, if it was in your garage or in your whatever, okay? We had limited hours, you know, like I think they started at 7 a.m. and they were done by noon or whatever. It was also free dump day so that people that did have pickups have the incentive to take their stuff. So,
on that, we don't do free dump day, but we do have, I have a small board meeting Thursday night, and I could ask for maybe a couple extra roll-offs or something like that.
that'd be great, thank you. Yeah, this is my thing, this is what I wanted to be on city council for, is to clean things up, so I'm really excited. So, you guys get ready, use up some of your comp time before then, so you can work.
Would you like to designate a weekend or
Oh,
weekend
yeah, let's
after
do it
that?
the weekend after, the garage sale thing.
14th of June.
So is the 14th the Saturday? Okay, so June 14th of 2025 has
So
been
let's
presented.
really talk it up in your neighborhoods, and we'll get some flyers out hopefully, and
we can
have
ask
a newspaper and.
Jody to put it on the Facebook
Yeah,
or the
Facebook
city's
page.
page.
Mhm. So.
I know we did this a few years ago, because I went to Lola's house and loaded up a whole bunch of pallets and stuff.
See how that works?
We had it to where everybody who needed the city to come by, they had to call City Hall, and we would get a call from whoever was in City Hall, say, hey, this is the next address you need to go to. And we drove around with a trailer attached to the city truck loading up stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and within this time too, we might be able to come up with some volunteers that would, you know, maybe they've got an extra pickup or something and they just want to be on the helping list, and then they can help too, and that way
Right.
the city doesn't take the brunt of that, since the
I
city.
just think the more we look good, the better we'll feel about our community.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
it's before the
right.
4th, so that helps too.
Go ahead.
Maybe the FFA kids
That's good to remind
put
me.
some time in and
Cool.
Or anybody that needs community service.
Yeah, yeah.
For scholarships.
Yeah, it's a great thing for scholarships.
or do they still do the Washington trip? for those kids?
Yesterday, kids only if they qualify.
Oh, good one. Organizations up there, but
Okay, I make a motion then that we have citywide cleanup on June 14th.
2025. Thank you, roll call.
Page?
Yes.
Sabah?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. 17, discussion and action on reconsideration of prior approval to purchase of the 2023 20-foot HP trailer for Street Parks Department for $5,290. I asked to put this back on the agenda. This is something that we passed, it's been at least a few months ago. There ended up being problems when I went over to do the paperwork for the trailer. They did not have the right title. Of course, they wanted to give me the other title, and that was not going to work. I knew better than to do that. So I said, you know, please give us a call when you do find that title. And for months, Jody and I checked in on it, and they just could not get it from the manufacturer. It does happen on rare occasion, and it does make it really hard to ever get that cleaned up if you're ever in that situation. So it's been on hold for an awfully long time. Scott finally had the opportunity to go over and chat and check on it, and it sounds like they finally have had the opportunity to find the right title. I will say that when I went over to originally do the first of the paperwork, I was surprised the trailer was a little bit different than what I had in mind or what I thought was conveyed in that paper. I thought we had asked specifically for a trailer that we knew that the mowers could get on easily, and the trailer that was there had 2 car loads, and I had concern that that would really tear up the mowers, driving those mowers up to car ramps is not gonna be possible. Also to the liability of the city to have our employees lifting $50 to $75 or $75 car ramps and putting them each in place is not something that I think is a liability we probably want to take on. So we need to revisit if this is still the purchase that we want to consider, or if it's something that we want to consider something else down the road.
Kevin, what do you currently use to load the mowers on that old trailer?
Back up to a hillside.
So, I mean, we could still do that with a newer trailer, but yeah.
Well, that's, kind of one of the caveats of getting a new trailer to where we don't have to do that, where we don't have to want to ditch the cemetery, where we can drop and go, where we want to, load and unload. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing it since I've been working, and it's so feasible to do that.
Right. Another reason why I decided to put it back on the agenda was our financials have changed quite a bit in the last 3 months, and we have found out that we're not near where we thought we might be, and so to be able to pay that amount and that chunk for the Parks Department was difficult, considering we've already bought an over for you guys today, or this year.
Did you guys ever come and look at the one in my yard?
Originally what was discussed was something that could take, I believe, at minimum the 2 mowers, but potentially all 3, so I just don't think yours would be long enough. But it's exactly what we need to look for. It's something that needs to have the mesh grill tailgate that folds down, and they make some too that have more of a hoist system to them.
It's
So
only
that
14 feet if that matters.
Yeah. I think we were looking at a minimum of maybe 18 for all 3 mowers, so.
But it's cheaper.
But it is, you make them good.
Donation? Kevin?
Not mine, I donated them.
Are you still running with no lights on that trailer?
No, we got it street legal.
You got it, okay.
So we do have lights for it. It's make do with what you have, and make do with it. Although a nice new trailer or used trailer would be really appreciated, nice. We make do with what we have again this year,
Kevin, do we have a license plate on that trailer?
We got half a license plate on it.
How do you get a half?
I'm not sure what happened to the other half.
Oh.
License or
I didn't know if
something.
there was a special license or something.
No, I think it's just wear and tear.
Gosh.
Trailers take a hit.
I know 2 years ago, we tried load mowers with the car ramps that we have down there, and that did not work well at all.
And we don't want to tear up. I mean, we've
Got some really
we've
nice
scraped
equipment.
together what we have to get you 2 brand new mowers. I would hate for us to take a dig on those right away.
Well, let's go back to the one that's in your yard. What are you talking?
14 by 7 or whatever it is with the guardrail around it. My kids said it would work fine for running lawnmowers, but not for automobiles because you can't get out once you get it on. I don't know anything about it.
Well, I think with our budget constraints, we need to just pass on this right now. If the one that we have is street legal, then, maybe we can, in my opinion, maybe we can revisit it for next fiscal year, but I think this year, I think, in my opinion, we're done buying stuff for the park.
It's disappointing, but I mean, it's.
I know we've had
Understandable.
the trailer, this is 2 years in a row it's been on the budget. I don't know. I know when we did the budget meeting, we looked at moving the money from the swimming pool employees that we weren't going to have over to the park department so we could purchase these items.
But just as Adam said, this is just as much cash flow as it is budget. The city just does not have the cash flow at this time to make that happen.
If we have something that's working, I'd rather go the library route myself with money. That's my personal thought. And if it's working this year.
Well, if this isn't the right trailer for the job, it might be, I think, the wait pass and find something better at the right time.
Well, guess that's been said. I guess we're gonna pass on this and then, we'll re-budget for it again next year, for the third year.
I'll make a motion to, I guess, reconsider, or not reconsider, step away from this purchase. Okay, there you go. Make a motion to step away from this purchase.
I'll second.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock? Page? Yes.
Thank you. Number 18, discuss, approve, disapprove. City Clerk Treasurer Terry Miller attending the LMN Municipal Accounting and Finance Conference June 18th through the 20th in 2025 in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is the League of Municipalities that they train. I believe it's once a year that they make this training. They used to do it more in February, but maybe they've moved things to be more in June, which is kind of nice for travel.
Specific to the accounting and financing piece of it, and they're doing a big section on budgeting.
I don't know that at this time. I've only been in the seat for 3 weeks, so I don't have that down yet. Go ahead.
I asked the question of when she comes off of probation.
When was your start date, Terry?
Mosquitoes are in.
Yeah,
I
mosquito
don't really
fish.
know. I don't remember.
I'm not running all on cylinders today, so I could not tell you.
February 11th, if I remember. I'm guessing.
So May would probably be closer to coming off.
Probably the end of February, near the end of February. But yeah, I think I'm in here almost 3 months almost soon.
How much is this class gonna cost?
He's got it,
Off the top of my head.
and it's near the back. It's $395 if we do it before June 4th.
And it's just a 1 day? or
No, it's over 3 days. I believe it is.
18th, 19th, 20th?
Yeah, 18th, 19th. I think it ends half day on the 20th. It goes towards the hours I have to have also, in the role. They require so many hours of training.
Terry?
Yes.
I know at the school that they had scholarships that you could qualify for once. Did they do that with the league at all?
So sometimes they do. The clerk's school already occurred.
Right.
So this is the one that is specific to the finance side. So.
Right, but does this one have a scholarship? that maybe
Not that
we
I'm
could
aware of, I'd have to
qualify
look
for?
into it.
Okay. I was just wondering.
I didn't know they did scholarships. I knew they did for clerk school, but not for this one.
I wasn't sure on this one either. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On probation.
I'll check.
Say if something came up with you guys that wasn't a fit, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, I'm just saying if that was to happen, she should be off of probation by then anyways.
I would assume that if something happens differently in that time, we would take care of it at that time, but it shouldn't come into play in your decision today.
No, I'm just saying I don't, as long as she's not on probation, I don't have a problem with her going to that. I don't know, as far as sending a probationary employee to that would be the smart choice, but what I'm saying is she should be off of probation by then.
Right, so it sounds like a moot point.
That's what I'm saying, as long as she's off of probation, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, I just need a motion if somebody's interested.
I'll make a motion to approve sending Terry Miller to the L&M Municipal Accounting and Finance Conference.
I'll second that.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Page? Yes.
Okay, 19, approved, disapproved mayor's appointee for new council member, Diane Gaston. Diane is the letter of interest that we've received in filling the council position.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion second?
Yes.
Page? Yes. DeBock?
Yes.
Welcome, Diane.
Yes.
That's weird, it's right, thank you. Look back and we have the sticker out.
She's getting into this all the time.
Whoops.
Yeah. All right, that's okay.
This is your routine.
Oh, she needs to
So you'll put your name up here.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay. Do I read it out loud to everybody?
You're gonna be on council, Missy, you're gonna have to see you go. Yes, you do.
Right, okay.
Does that mean you're out? You don't want to have that?
Don't worry, I'm good.
That's it, I'm out.
Everybody can see me.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I'm not shy. No. All officers of the city, whether elected or appointed, shall before entering upon the duties of the respective offices declare and subscribe the following oath or affirmation. I, Diane S. Gaston, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will take this obligation freely and without mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of council member according to law and to the best of my ability. And I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force of violence, and that during such time as I am in this position, I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocates overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence. So help me God. The oath of, or affirmation so described shall be found. Sorry, I didn't need to read that. I was just reading.
Thank you. Very good, thank you. Congratulations.
Just find a smaller one.
I know.
No, but I just. Yes. No, I don't.
Even though it's at the end, here's your inaugural.
Homework.
Final item. Number 20, discuss, approve, disapprove appointing a new council president.
Well, I would make a motion to appoint Patty as the council president.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful, roll call please.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Do I still call her?
Yes, she's sitting council now, so you will
Did she
call.
accept?
You'll ask, you'll ask her to roll call, and then you'll also ask Diane to roll call. So
Okay.
Diane Gaston.
Okay. I'm really roll call challenged.
She's done training wheels in the roll call.
I really am on my training all day.
Yes.
Yes, I accept.
Patty, Page, yes, you accept. Okay,
You
and
don't
Ms.
get a
Gaston.
There's no choices.
Do you?
Your roll call, are you, your vote on that?
Yeah.
Yes, she said. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Motion adjourned.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been 3 weeks. By the way, it's Gaston, not Gaston. No, it's not. Pronounce it right.
So
vacation, man, no more work questions.
Well, that's right, you took that comp time, cause I didn't use it.
No, you use vacation. I'll come later, you gotta use up the vacation first.
Oh,
I'm like, close.
to your 80 hours? Yeah.
We do our very best to maintain our 40-hour paychecks as best we can. With the nature of our job, sometimes we just get kicked real hard when we're down, and then they